Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, you must become the victor. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas Eve. I know that I am, but I wanted to do a couple videos just to give my audience something to watch in the off chance that you're not celebrating it with family for whatever reason. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is potentially one of the most divisive topics on the internet, and that is OnlyFans. You see, OnlyFans is really interesting because there are people that say that OnlyFans is the preferable choice for women. And in fact, we're going to watch a video where Asmongold basically says that that is the best choice for women to take up the OnlyFans route. And then you have people like me that say that that is absolutely morally and intellectually retarded, that completely obfuscates and avoids all of the consequences that come from that. It's Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit that says fast money comes with slow problems. And that is absolutely true. I don't think that Asmongold cares about his reputation at all, so it doesn't really mean anything to him. He's looking at it from a zero-sum game, like, oh, how much money can I get? But the reality is that doing OnlyFans, your reputation is gone. Absolutely gone. And while some people may argue that's not fair, that's the reality of the situation. You are sacrificing quick income for what usually takes years or even decades to build, which is a reputation, a brand, and for you to be able to be perceived as somebody who is respectable. Here's the reality. You cannot be an OnlyFans model. And I use the word model because it's instinct, but you're not a model. You're a prostitute. That is what you are. You're not a model. You are doing pornography for cash for random people on the internet. That's what it is. You're a prostitute. And guess what? Since the beginning of time, there's been a stigma around prostitution for a very, very, very good reason. And the thing is, Asmongold does this video, and he gives his perspective, and I'm giving mine. I think that women shouldn't do OnlyFans. I think that by you taking up that mantle, it doesn't empower you. It's not the better choice. I think that you should work, if you want to work, that 9-to-5 job. I think that you should get that experience because it'll help you, it'll first of all help you appreciate the job that are later to come, which are, maybe you're working in, another field. But I got to tell you, I worked as a dishwasher. I worked jobs that were laborious, that were really tough, that I hated. But I always appreciated the lessons that I learned from those jobs. There would be times where, I was working as a dishwasher and it was just, I was like, God, it's like there's an endless stream of dishes. And it sucked. But it made me realize I don't want to do that. Now, Asmon does say some things in this video that are absolutely true. That a lot of people don't do OnlyFans because nobody wants to see them naked. But I think that there's another part of that. And this is where the difference between Asmon being an atheist and me being religious comes in. I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. What does that mean? Well, I believe that there is a thing called morality. And I do think that people live by that. Not perfectly, because we are flawed and sinful beings. But there is such a thing as morality. There is such a thing as right and wrong. And it does matter. So, when you're looking at a situation, how much you're going to gain from it is not the only consideration. It's the effect on your family. It's the effect, and I don't just mean financially, but I want you to imagine this, because Asmongold says, Well, any guy. Let's just listen to this real quick, and then I'll give my perspective.
Like, that's something that's going to happen. Like, it really doesn't. The thing is that if you live your life looking for recognition from other people, you'll never be happy.
That's true.
So it doesn't really matter like what the reason is or anything like that. It reduces you. Yeah, exactly. Future marriage too. Nah, there's plenty of guys that are gonna date a girl that does OnlyFans, because a lot of the girls that do OnlyFans are hot.
Notice he says date, not marry. Because no, there aren't a whole lot of guys that are going to marry an OnlyFans model. Or rather, I should put it like this. There may be guys, because she's attractive, that'll marry her. But they're not going to be guys that she's attracted to, that she wants. Because essentially, Asmongold, because he's an atheist, because he's, how do I put it best, morally dubious, he doesn't understand that there are people out there that actually do live by a moral code. And the mother of your children, having shown her naked body to men for money, that is a non-starter. That is a complete no-go. And it's not just for the oh, you're just a Puritan. No, it's because guys often think of this stuff in the long term. You imagine this. Imagine you have kids with this woman, and your kids go to school, and they pull up an OnlyFans of your mom sucking dick. I mean, that right there, I could totally see that leading to some sort of self-harm or some sort of bullying that's so intense that it just absolutely destroys the family. These are the sort of things that arise when something like that happens. Because the internet is forever, and you are never going to be able to get that back. Now, there are some guys that are so degenerate and so pathetic and so soy-based and simp-infused that they're not going to care. But those are the people that she is not going to be interested in because they're not going to be on her level. The people that are super attractive, super intelligent, super wealthy, super successful, they're not going to want a liability as a wife. So they may use her for recreation, they'll use her for sex, they'll promise her the world, and then at the end of the day, she'll get nothing. Now, Asmongold doesn't even touch on this because he just thinks, oh, there will be some loser that comes along that will marry her, but that person will not be successful or rich or somebody that the world admires and respects. It's not going to be somebody that she wants to build a family with. I can almost guarantee you that because it's like clockwork. When you go down the route that she's going down, there are a lot of different things that you have to bring on that you may not know because a lot of people, and I'm not putting the blame on Asmongold, but a lot of people completely ignore it because it's uncomfortable, or they don't want it to be true, or a whole bunch of different reasons. But here's the deal. Guys are also coming around and shaming simps they would get with an OnlyFans model far more than, maybe 5 years ago. And I think in the next 5 years, there's going to be a reckoning where if you're a guy and you're married to an OnlyFans girl, you're gonna get mocked and humiliated way more than you even are now. I think that's coming. I don't think, and this is a difference probably between myself and Asmon, I don't think that we're going to get more degenerate as a society. I think things are going to change. I think as things change, we're going to see a lot of the things that we currently see now go away. I think the OnlyFans, that's a ticking time bomb. Not only from a biological standpoint, because as this woman gets older, she's going to be far, 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 far less attractive, but also she's going to be replaced. We've talked about AI girlfriends, but I actually think it's far more than that. I think men are eventually going to get to the point where they can design not just an AI girlfriend, but I think there's going to be a company, whether it's Elon Musk with the, creating the cat girls, but they are going to create, I don't want to call them Terminators, but they're basically going to create fembots that are so lifelike. You know, basically from, like, was it Detroit Become Human? I think that is going to be the future, where you can pick your perfect girl, the eye color, the hair color. You're going to be able to pick the girl that you want and pick her personality. Now, am I in favor of this? Do I think that this is a good idea? No, I think that it's going to exponentially hurt the species in the coming years. Our birth rates are already abysmal. But the reason our birth rates are already abysmal is something that Asmongold actually mentions, and that is that the most attractive and the most fertile girls are going on to OnlyFans and doing pornography by themselves in a room, or just, you know, sucking dick for $5.99 a month. And they are basically off the market for being in a family and having kids. And I think that a lot of girls are doing this. A lot of girls are seeing this and saying, I can go my own way. I'm going to be a girl boss. I think that there are a lot of problems as it relates to this. And this seeps into everything. You may have noticed that there is an IQ de-evolution that has taken place over the past 20 years. You may have noticed that there is a degeneracy epidemic. You may notice that things are not great. And so you have a PhD deciding to become an online whore. And the fact that people are okay with that. And that Asmongold's like, yeah, I understand that. That's probably the right thing to do. The fact that we live in that sort of timeline is just absolutely ridiculous. I think if you want to fix this, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to create a cultural norm. In the past, it was Christianity. I think it should be Christianity again. I think Asmongold's brand of atheistic, you know, do what I want for myself, no thought for my community, no thought for anyone else. You know, it's just living your life that way, I think, is just genuinely pathetic. And I think that it is completely absent of a moral framework and a foundation. It's why Asmongold is so weird, because on some topics, he's spot on. He's great. At other topics, he's just astonishingly retarded. Like, stunningly. I like the video he did where he's like, I'm a fan of Bernie Sanders. You're fucking what, mate? You fucking what? You're a fan of Bernie. Whew. Let me just say, in 2024, if you say that you're a fan of Bernie Sanders, I just immediately assume you're retarded. Bernie Sanders. He's not been right on a single thing in the last 50 years. He's somebody that continuously works to make America less safe, talking about, we need to confiscate guns. You know, his socialist messaging, you know, his views on healthcare are absolutely abominable and retarded. Single-payer healthcare, by the way, is the worst healthcare that we could possibly move towards. You know, ask anyone from Canada about single-payer who isn't a left-wing degenerate retard, and they'll tell you that it's the worst. Hey, what's the wait time for seeing a doctor for something? If you are in the U.S., you'll say maybe like 3 weeks. Yeah, try 3 years in Canada. That's no joke. In fact, there was a story, I didn't cover it, but there was a story of a guy who went to the emergency room. They basically sent him out, and he died the next day. Or it was like in the next 5 days. Because they didn't even have the time to treat him. They didn't even have the time to look at, what was going on. They basically just brought him in and sent him out. They wouldn't see him. The guy waited in the waiting room for hours. And then they sent him away. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my advice to guys is do not settle for a girl just because she's attractive. Getting older is realizing that Peter Parker shouldn't have chosen Mary Jane. He should have chosen the far less attractive girl that actually liked him and had a nice family, you know? Olga, I think her name is. The point is that if you have any self-respect, you're not going to marry an OnlyFans model. Do you think that Asmongold would ever marry an OnlyFans model? No, there's no chance in hell. Asmongold, I don't think, is ever going to get married. I just don't. I don't think that he would be open to that. I don't know, but I don't think he wants kids either. So if that's the life that you want, if you want to be in your mid to late 30s without kids, without a wife, then, listen to that sort of advice. But if you think that there's a better way, then maybe listen to someone with a little more experience. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.